Welcome to the Landscape Photography Vlogcast, hosted by myself, Tom Peters, aka the Photo Ninja, all the way up north, Paul Thompson Photography, and truth mate, it's Matt Bishop. We cover all things photography and chat to some of the best photography minds in the business. Put your feet up, the kettle on, and let's jump straight into this week's Vlogcast.
How's everyone been since our first live stream experience?
Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. That I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we got good feedback. I was quite surprised. I actually didn't know what to expect with that live stream actually, because it was all just sort of introduced to us, and we didn't know if people were even going to jump on there. We could have just been talking to ourselves and our mother-in-laws. And it's quite surprised. A lot of people actually connected, and it went really well. We had lots of feedback from it, and it's good to know we're going to be doing another one.
Yeah, it is. Good fun for sure. Definitely, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good crack. Yeah. Really good. Like I said, like Matt said, it was really nice to get into like live interaction from people.
Yeah, it just shows you there's a market for it, doesn't it? It shows you there's people actually want to not just hear what we say, but they want to hear about photo critique on that type of format. You know, people discussing it live, and yeah, I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, good fun.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I've had quite a lot of comments the last week or so. Saying enjoyed it, and what's the plan? What are you doing next? Sort of thing. So,
no, well, that's good.
Yeah,
it's good to hear.
Yeah. So, Matt, you put a post up on our Facebook page.
Mm.
Can you just tell a little bit about what you was asking and what the outcome was?
Yes, I just put up. It's nice to get feedback from the people in the group. It gives us a rough idea of what people want to hear, and it's important. We want to discuss things that people want us to talk about. Basically, it's great to interview other photographers and get into their mindset, but at the same time too, it's nice to have a chat, just us three, about different aspects of photography in general, and I think people sometimes probably appreciate our laid-back approach and an honest opinion about different forms of photography, just us three talking. So it's good to bounce off and mix things up a little bit with the podcast. So I thought I would put this forward to the group. Basically, I just said, after our summer break, the podcast is up and running again. Tom Peters, Paul Thompson, myself are busy preparing content, but we'd love for you guys to give us some feedback in this poll about what you'd like us to discuss in future episodes. We're here for the community, and we want to prepare content that is useful for you as landscape photographers, regardless of your expertise or desires. So what would you like to hear from us next? And we brought up various things about, people want to discuss YouTube, talk about workshops, post-production techniques, specific interviews with photographers, etc. And the highest vote by a long haul was actually to discuss scouting locations and where.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject, that definitely. Because I'm sure we all have different approaches to it.
Yeah. And it changes every time. I don't know about you. Sometimes some trips obviously require a fair bit of planning. Some are very sporadic.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, why don't you talk about your recent video and trip and how you sort of went about that then, Matt? Because that's could tie in well with this question, couldn't it?
Okay. Well, to start out with, I'm the type of photographer I do like to shoot local, and I'm lucky enough that I can commute, pre-COVID, commute back and forth from Australia and Italy, and there's big differences in landscapes between the two countries. So I'm very lucky to be able to capture two different types of landscapes. But at the same time, I love my travel, and I love going to these destinations, these epic scenes, and I love Patagonia, as everyone knows. I had workshops there, and Patagonia for me is like my baby project. Not just because of those epic scenes, I like to get into the heart of Patagonia and capture different locations in Patagonia that people don't know, which on many aspects are actually more beautiful. But with COVID at hand at the moment, that's not possible. I can't go to Patagonia. I can't go to travel to any other part of the world. I'm actually banned from entering Australia because Australia is not letting anyone in Australia, and you're not even allowed out. And that's basically it's going on more than 2 years now since I've been home. So I'm pretty much stuck to Italy. And I've always sort of, had a few workshops in famous destinations in Italy, and, I've done a few in Tuscany. I love Tuscany so much. It's such a beautiful area. It's a very curated landscape, very similar to probably like the Lake District minus the lakes.
Yeah.
It's a very curated countryside, those pencil pine trees. It's a beautiful landscape, and it has been photographed so many times. And then we have the Dolomites up in the north. The Dolomites are stunning. I don't think you'll find mountainscapes like that anywhere else in the world. They're incredibly beautiful, but very far away from here. And at the same time, in an area in northern Italy where there's actually a lot of cases of infected people from COVID up in the north of Italy. Well, up until now, it's been very, very high. So for me, just to go and travel around, it just wasn't feasible. So the video that you guys saw I put up on YouTube last week was a video of mine that I decided to try and focus on something very, very local, but at the same time, a destination for me that was epic and something that I want my photos to be dramatic, and it's not about the post-production. It's about the conditions and the light. And sometimes those conditions you can only achieve in mountainscapes. When you get over 2,000 meters in altitude and you start getting those cloud formations and that beautiful beams of light smashing up against the mountain. And so I found, I didn't find, there's a lot of people in Italy that know about it. There's a location that's probably about 2 hours from here. A lot of Italians know this area. It's like famous areas for people and their families to go up and have picnics and things like that, but not too many landscape photographers really, really know about it that much. Especially international photographers don't know about it. So that first video that you saw of mine, which I titled Wild Italy Part 1, was a destination that I wanted to go and discover and try and find that epicness close to home. And, with a bit of vision, and I think this is something that is highly underrated in photography in general, but, more so in landscape photography, that when we discuss about, the principles of landscape photography, Joe Cornish once said in the book First Light, that famous book of Joe Cornish's First Light, which so many people, refer to it as the Bible of landscape photography. He was saying the principles for him for landscape photography was TLC, timing, light and composition. He left out one, which is vision. And for me, vision is being able to understand, okay, I'm going to go there and I'm going to go and capture that scene, and being able to understand where to go and say, hey, that's going to be a nice composition, or that's just going to be crap. And that's the most vital part of landscape photography, is having vision and going to destinations and scouting and finding these places. That's what landscape photography is. That's the core of it. Once you get past that, everything is about refining. But before, the vision is so important. I could go on about vision for hours because it is the first fundamental part of landscape photography. And when we refer to scouting, this is just so important to have that vision, to know where to go and go there because you want to go there and capture a scene that you might have found because you scouted it and you spent many times going there.
Yeah, definitely. I think the more scouting you do, obviously, the you build up the bigger knowledge of these locations, and then you can sort of build a picture up in your head of which is the best place to maximise your success rate, or depending on what the conditions are at the time, you think, I'm going to go there at that time, or I'm not. That's not going to be worth it. So scouting, scouting is the biggest thing. But yeah, you are right. Vision. You have to have the vision in the first place. You have to have the vision and take that gamble of going to the location, don't you? Rather than just going back to one that you already know.
Rather than just waking up in the morning and getting out of bed and just, saying, it doesn't matter. Next week I'm going on a plane. I'm going to travel to Iceland and I'm going to go and capture the Stuggafoss Rough waterfall, whatever the hell is it called. And, it's just, that's not, there is a certain amount of vision to it, but it's not the vision we're talking about. There's nothing that creative, is there really, about living in someone else's shadow? Is there?
No, because the vision is what you see on Instagram, isn't it? With shots like that, you know what what it looks like before you've gone.
That's right.
Yeah,
almost find the tripod holes to stick your tripod in.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that,
No, not at all. I mean, to be honest, it's one of the best ways to do it, isn't it? Is to go to these locations and get that shot, and then start looking for something else.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a musician, isn't it, really? I don't know if you guys play a musical instrument, but I've been playing a guitar since I was about 10 years old, and I started out playing a guitar, listening to Jimi Hendrix songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, 12 months later, I was writing my own music. And that's the vision, that's the artistic point. Writing your own music is scouting. It is finding these destinations.
Yeah.
It's writing music. It's writing your own music. And, how important is that? How important? Doesn't that – when you guys go out, I mean, I know you both love going out and shooting woodlands, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the woodlands that you guys go to, you're never going to see other photographers out there. I mean, they're unique destinations. I mean, you guys have scouted these places and you've seen them in different lights, and you've gone there in summer and said, you know what, these birch trees are going to look beautiful in autumn. Or you, Tom, you said, this place is full of bluebells. I'm going to search for an area where there's more, information, more trees with big trunks and stuff in them, That's part of it. I mean...
Yeah, it's part of the fun as well.
It's the best part, the discovery. Yeah. When you discover something, that sensation is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's more so discovering it than actually capturing the image itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I must admit, 9 times out of 10, capturing the image is the disappointing part. It's because you've built it up so much and you got so excited. Yeah.
So
when
true.
You get there, when you get there in that moment, you think, it's not. Never mind.
It's never as you expect it to be or want it to be.
Not normally, no.
Yeah, what you've kind of made. Well, it's the vision again. It's back to the vision. It's what the vision of what you thought it would look like, I suppose, in the right conditions, and it's never the right conditions when you want it to be.
But it eventually will be. It eventually will be. Yeah. Just keep persistent.
Yeah, you just got to keep going back, as Matt says, 3 million times until you get it.
That's it. That's it. I tell you what I tend to do. If I haven't really got much of a goal, I tend to go back to West Woods all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a big woods that I just sort of, just do big loops, and I might do the same loop but backwards, or because I tend to, you always see things, don't you, when you turn around and look behind you. And I tend, like them pictures that I showed on the live stream of the bluebells, they were just captured, lots of them were just captured just because I've seen them there, and it wasn't actually an area that I went to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So even when you're scouting for a specific vision or a shot, there's always that chance that you're going to see something better or see something unexpected.
Yeah, and I think to me, one of the somebody once asked me how do you find compositions in woodlands, and my answer to that was I don't look for them.
Yeah,
because you'll never find them.
No,
you've just got to kind of wander around and see what piques your interest, really. If something takes you out of the corner of your eye and you spot something, Then but I don't go into a woodland actually looking for a certain thing, because you will never find it.
No. Whenever I teach people my woodland workshops, I always say, just go for a walk and just look for shapes, light, contrast, and you'll find something. But if you're looking for a specific composition, no.
Yeah, it'll never happen.
No, I don't think so.
You learn for hours, eh?
Yeah, you'll get all shitty with yourself, and then you'll think, sod this, I'm never doing woodland again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
think
the
it goes
beauty
for a lot
of
of things, eh? To a certain extent. To a certain extent.
I think too, guys, that woodland photography, I'm not a huge expert. I do a little bit of it, but it's not primary. I mean, I don't do as much as what you guys do. But the beautiful thing about woodland photography is, okay, if I'm Joe Smith, you guys know Joe, don't you?
Oh, Joe, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, Paul, sorry, it was just a name I just made up, mate.
Yeah, I did gather that, mate. Yeah.
I just wasn't funny, was I? No, okay.
No.
It's my convict blood, mate.
Yeah. We used to it by now, mate. We've got it sussed.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. So if you're was he Joe Smith, right? And you say, okay, look, I'm going to go out and photograph tomorrow. It's okay, what am I going to go and photograph? Well, I want to do something unique. I don't want to go and shoot that mountain that's up the road that everyone's shot a million times over and over again in every condition. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to woodland. If you go to woodland, you promise you're going to come home with something unique, because the compositions are always going to be different.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're shooting a mountain, your composition's going to be different too. But, shoot it to the left, shoot it to the right, get a bit of the waterfall in, get more waterfall in, get more sky in. 5 or 6 compositions, you're done. In a woodland, you can shoot a group of trees that no one else has ever captured before. That's a beautiful thing about woodland photography. So it's a great way if people want to discover a new area and they want to go out and shoot and they don't know where, go and find a local woodland. Yeah.
Well, the good thing about it as well is it's like it's good tuition in a way. It's a good learning experience.
It is. Yeah, understanding the rules of thirds, trying to get your thirds, everything in there perfectly. Use those trees to perfectly line up. Get a nice frame. Yeah, it's a great way, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. If you can find a composition in there, you can find one anywhere.
And you don't need a sky in the image.
No.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Another thing I sort of say to people when I take workshops is, if you've got if you find a composition in their local area, I always say to them, keep going back to the same tree. Say if it's a tree. Like an old oak or whatever. Approach it and try and approach it with fresh eyes every time you go back, but go to the same tree, like different seasons, different times of day. And I think woodland photography is a great way of building like a collection, or like like a triptych. You could do like a series of images to create a story.
Yeah.
I mean, of the same scene, because like you said, Matt, everything, even if it's the same scene, it can be different. It will be different every time.
Yeah.
So there's not only is there a shit ton of more opportunities in one visit, but you can get more out of one image if you're prepared to go back and back.
Yeah.
Which I quite like.
For sure.
It's good for YouTube content, because if you don't get nothing, you can always just say it's a scanned video.
Yeah. It's very much like any sort of water photography as well, isn't it? Because that's forever changing. Every time you go back, it's never the same twice.
That's it. Yeah,
gotta love shooting water.
Yeah.
Seascapes it's the unique part of photography. Yeah, if you live close to the coast and you don't know where to go, just go down to the beach.
Yeah.
Shoot water. Shoot different shutter speeds.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to do the 5 second long exposure. Try 1/5 of a second and see how that water comes out. Get your tripod down low. get a different perspective.
Yeah. Don't do what
just
you
look-
did and get your camera soaking wet, though.
No, my camera likes to get wet, though.
Yeah, I know yours does, but, you know,
It likes to get wet.
I was a Sony's, it just, you know, one raindrop, it stops working.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah.
Don't big them Pentaxes up any more than he does, mate. Right.
Well, you know what he's like. At the end of it.
This is the Pentax podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Just missing the sponsorship deal.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I would love to get my hands on one of them K2s just to see what they're like.
A K2?
Like we said, a K12. Yeah, like we said, ages ago. I almost bought one.
No, when we catch up, mate, I'll bring on with you. Yep.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sweet.
We'll get stuck in a storm and go crazy. There's another composition for you guys, another location. Don't worry about the location. If there's a storm, just go out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Light. It's all about the light. There's a famous photographer for social media, and I'm sure everyone who's listening to this knows Nick Page. He's made himself very present on social media.
Yeah.
And has basically shown his talent of explaining photography to other photographers over the years, and he's definitely built a name because of that. And he said on many occasions, you know, don't worry about the location. You know, the most important part is the light. Go out and shoot the light. A guy like that loves out shooting storms, you know, so...
Yeah.
You know, we're in conditions where we're very, very restricted to where we can go. Where the three of us are lucky that we both live in beautiful countries that are full of opportunities. Probably not as popular as your Iceland or your Canadian Rockies or Madeira in Spain, but we have these beautiful destinations that are I don't know about you guys in the UK as much, but in Italy there's so many places still to discover. It's incredible. Such small, tiny European countries, but there's so much there to discover. And
I think we struggle a bit more because I suppose we've got a pretty high population here, so there's not that many places left really to discover here.
Well, I mean, over here in Italy, we're 66 million. It's not like I don't know what your pop. 66 million is a lot of people.
Yeah, it is for sure.
But the difference is in Italy that people tend to concentrate. They're packed into the towns. You know, they don't live sort of. Everyone lives in that little village on top of a mountain, or in your big cities, obviously. But you know, on the flat plains and everywhere else, there's just nobody. So it's a different lifestyle. I think more so in the UK, people that live, they actually like to live a bit more separated. And because of that, your land is more curated because you just have farms everywhere. Whereas over here, we've got, you know, your little town on top of a mountain with a vineyard and some olive trees. And then there's this big area that's just completely left to its own divine, and just there's quite a lot there. Italy's very much concentrated to the really, really popular locations, you know, like Cinque Terre on the coast, the Amalfi Coast, Dolomites, Tuscany, and then there's all this other stuff. So I consider myself lucky to be able to see some of these locations. I mean, you guys have got Scotland. I mean, Scotland is
for sure.
Just it's up the road for you guys, isn't it? Really, you know.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not too far.
It's a bit further for you, Tom, but you know, not too bad for me.
Yeah, you're all right, aren't you?
Yeah, a couple hours I can be up there.
That's it, yeah. 8 hours for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Tom, you've got that Wisdom's Woods. What's that place called?
Wisman's Woods, yeah.
Those creepy trees.
Yeah. Wisman's Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the size of my shoe, though. That place is tiny.
You take 2 steps, you're out the other side of it.
It's really that small, is it?
Yeah, it's probably the size of a football pitch, I reckon.
You're kidding me?
No.
So Nick Green and what's that other bloke's name?
Neil Burnell.
Yeah, Neil Burnell, Nick Green are basically, they've photographed every possible angle that's available.
I would, Yeah. Neil would know. Yeah, Neil would be able to walk around there with his hand over his eyes, I reckon, and find. Yeah, it's such a hard place to shoot. Although it's so small, I think that's just the worst enemy. It's so compact, and it's on a slope as well. So unless you're, if you're shooting up, you're going to get skying. And of course, it's obviously a dead woods. There's no foliage, so there's it's really hard to get that sky out. That's why the fog's so important. And that you need the atmosphere to sort of soften everything above.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an incredible place. I haven't been there for a while, actually.
And
yeah,
you got the Jurassic Coast too. Is it Jurassic Coast where you've got what's that famous arch that's on the beach? There's that
Turtle Door.
Turtle Door areas around. I don't know if I ever told you guys, the first place I ever photographed 20 years ago.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful area. I mean, but
what's them rocks as well, Paul? Was it Old Harry? Is it Old Harry?
What's that?
Harry Rocks and down Dorset there. Is it called Old Harry's Rocks? It's like a peninsula, and then there's like a little series of islands, like little clumps of. They always get photographed with a drone.
Yeah, what's the other one? There's
looking back in.
Is there the drinking dinosaur? Where's that?
If you're watching this, then I assume you're someone who is passionate about both photography and the natural world. Over the last decade, I'm sure you've seen the incredible growth in photography. Everyone has a camera these days, and everyone wants a beautiful nature photo to share with the world. Unfortunately, the passion to capture that image often overrides thoughtfulness. Wildflower fields are being trampled and destroyed. Delicate, unknown locations are being widely advertised, bringing crowds of people, transforming wild places into urban spaces. Regulations, private property, and the well-being of wildlife are ignored in the pursuit of an image for Instagram. If such things weigh heavily on you, consider joining Nature First, the movement for responsible nature photography. This is a global initiative to help recover the role of nature photographers as caretakers and ambassadors of the natural world. There are no membership fees, no ads, no gimmicks, just an opportunity to be part of this global initiative of nature photographers dedicated to caring for the natural world. You can learn more at naturefirstphotography.org.
Drinking time as well.
Yeah. That's down that way as well, I think.
Yeah, that's only an hour and 20 minutes from me. I could be, Yes, I'm very lucky. Seascapes and woodlands are my sort of thing. If I want to go mountains, I've got to go the Beacons in Wales, but it's not very spectacular. I'd have to go to the lakes.
I think we've brought it up before. I think there's a lot of potential in Snowdonia.
Yeah.
There's quite a few photographers that go. Apparently they've got a lot of issues at the moment with the amount of traffic. The amount of walkers in Snowdonia are destroying the tracks. They're actually having quite a high impact at the moment.
Yeah, Snowdonia is lovely, yeah. Really good. Really good, yeah.
Okay, so putting our countries to the side, so the UK and Italy, where we normally go photograph, where we'd like to travel, that sort of stuff. I think people would be interested in hearing about what techniques do we use to find these locations. We don't just wake up one morning and go, hey, you know what, today I'm going to go to such and such. There is a technique behind scouting and finding locations to photograph. Paul, what do you do, mate?
Well, my thing was basically, you two will be the same. Is that when you haven't got the time and you've got the family to be around, is what I've started doing is trying to tie the two things in, because you can't go out and do photography with the family in tow, because it just never works. So what I've started doing there is taking the kids out for a walk, and I'll just pick a location and go and have a walk with them, and it means I can go and scout the location as well as getting out. And then I'm not so focused on, because you kind of almost paying attention to what they're doing as well, you're not so focused on what's going on around you, and things present themselves things that wouldn't normally present themselves, I suppose, stand out more when you just walk around for no other reason than just going out for a walk.
Yeah.
And then you're not kind of solely focused on trying to find something.
And you're not stressed because you're going out and you actually think, I've got to get something today. I've got to get something.
Yeah.
You know, you're just out having a walk and just say, I'm just going to open my mind up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let the whole creative mindset kick in and just enjoy being with the family. If I come across something, I'm going to look at it. Otherwise, I'm just going to let it all go. And it's probably a relaxed approach, isn't it? Good technique, mate. Good technique.
Definitely. That's what I've found works for me anyway. And then it means that I don't always have to take a camera with me. I can just kind of take the phone out if I spot something to go back to.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll carry a camera with me on the off chance I see something, just to get a reference shot. But do that.
Yeah.
Tom?
Well, that was actually going to be.
I've robbed it.
You bastard!
Yeah, I always go for the relaxed approach. Whether I always try to, even when I'm out vlogging or just going out with a camera, I always try and just not put added pressure on, because it doesn't generally lead to a successful image, in my opinion anyway. Like as Paul said, whether that's you just do a leisurely walk with the family, or I don't know, you're going out walking the dog, or just whenever you're outside, just have it in the back of your mind. Like Paul said, pick a location and just have it in the back of your mind. Because I don't know about you, but I always notice things when I'm out camera wise. It's the same when I'm out. If we go for a city break, I'm always noticing like dodgy brickwork. I'm not looking for it, but I always see it. So I think it's just something that it's ingrained in you. I find it hard to switch off and stuff like that. So it's just try and relax and don't think about it. And if you keep going back and back enough of times, you'll see it eventually. You'll walk over it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, before you go to these locations, do you have any techniques to tell people? I mean, what do you do? Okay, I'm going to go out for a walk with the family today. Where am I going to go?
I don't tend to pick locations based on something I've seen, or it's more on how I feel at the time. Like for me, taking an image I have to feel it. I have to want to take it, if you know what I mean. Me personally, not for YouTube, not for in my Instagram or print, or I have to actually want to take it. So I don't know, like leading up to the weekend, I might think, I really fancy shooting a waterfall, or I've had a hard week at work. I just want to walk around the woods in the dark, in the mist, watch the sun come up. And then that's how I tend to pick locations. So I think, well, I'm going to go there then, because I'll go to West Woods, because I know, living in a valley where I live at the moment, this time of year, there's always fog. It's somewhere around, if you know what I mean. It might not last for very long.
Yeah.
So that's what I tend to do. I think, well, I'll either go to Savernake or I'll go to West Woods. But it's all about mood for me. I like shooting woods because, one, I live next to some really good woods, but two, that's me. That's my happy place. So but if I'm feeling like a change, shooting seascapes is something that I love doing and used to do when I lived at the coast. So, but again, a sunrise on the beach, watching the sun come up, it's relaxing. So my photography is always based generally around my mood and how I feel at the time. And then I'll go
definitely two different feelings though, aren't they? When you're out on a seascape, as opposed to being in woods. Woods gives you this sense of inner peace, tranquility, an extreme sense of loneliness. doesn't it? Whereas being on a beach gives you more, I don't know, you're not lonely because, I don't know about you guys, but if my feet are in the water, if I'm the only person on the beach, I don't feel lonely. I've got the seas accompanying me. You have this sense of, okay, I'm on the coast. I'm okay now. It's a different sensation.
Yeah,
I think those emotions come across when you're going to find a composition and to capture it.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. And it's, I suppose one of the other things is how do you actually find it? Because it's a difficult situation. It's a difficult thing to think about how to look for an image, because if you start going on to Instagram and places like that to look for locations, for example, then to me it almost feels as though you've tainted yourself with what to expect.
Yeah,
that's right.
So,
that's right.
I guess for me it depends on what I want to go and shoot. If I'm looking for some sort of gnarly looking woodland or something like that, I'll actually go and research ancient woodlands online. Rather than actually go into somewhere like Instagram to find a location, I'll just go direct to the source and look for.
And you're not doing a photography-based search. You're actually doing a search based on the beauty of a location, where people who might go and have a picnic or take their dog for a walk, they're beautiful locations for a reason. They're not just there because people want to photograph them.
Yeah. So you've got to
set that to the side. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to look for the actual reason that you're going to photograph it in the first place.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. Like a few months, maybe 6 months ago, I went to Westwoods, but I got sort of bogged in with the main area. I thought I'll walk around the other side, and I went to a picnic area, and you go there in, I don't know, lunchtime on a blue sky day. It looks there's nothing special. You could be in the middle of Hyde Park.
Yeah.
But when I went there for sunrise and the light come down and I seen this park bench that had frost on it and you could see all the trees in behind all lit up, it looked incredible. And that could have been anywhere.
Yeah, this is it. Conditions.
And I get conditions and light. And I just literally walked around the corner. I got real in a huff because the area I thought I was hoping to find something I didn't. And it just happened.
Yeah. Same with me the other day. I was just out for a walk. I took the kids out for a walk up from the fells up the road from here. I thought, I'll just take the camera just on the off chance. And that's when I took that fern shot. Just walking along the road and spotted these ferns, and I thought, I'll just grab a quick shot of these. And I only spent about 5 minutes getting the shot, and it turned out awesome.
Yeah.
And if I'd gone and planned that, and actually gone to go and take that shot, I don't think it would have looked half as good as just being in the moment and seeing the light.
For sure. Sorry, Tom, go ahead, mate.
No, you go, mate. It's fine.
No, you're right. Go.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that's why scouting's so important. It's because you do get shots that stay in cell prints from doing scouting trips. I've got some of my best images from when I've just been aimlessly walking around with no sort of visualizing. I don't image in my head. I just went for a walk. I thought, I'll go to that new area of that woods, or I'll go to that new beach, or because, like you said, the pressure's off and you haven't got any expectations. But like kind of what you're talking about, Instagram. I do look at Instagram, but not for locations, more for. It's just a visual look, like we do. You scroll through, and it just gets you pumped up to think, I could get something this weekend. It gives you that sort of. But yeah, I don't really look at it for locations because I don't want to take what other people take. I'm quite happy doing my own thing, and I don't really care. People don't. That sounds bad, but I do care. People like it, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I'm not shooting for everyone else. I'm shooting for me. So, but yeah, inspiration definitely.
But I think that's when good work shines through. When you're shooting for yourself and not shooting for somebody else's idea.
Yeah,
that's when you stand out.
Yeah.
It's your own work. It's why people are drawn to it, is because it's your own take on something, not trying to copy somebody else's.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, you look, there's that many photographers out that I've seen come and go over the years, and especially over the last recent years. Kids, basically. When I say kids, I mean, it's only because I'm an old man now, but, you know, young males and females in their early 20s, they still live home with mum and dad, and they don't have any work or family commitments, and, you know, they get a camera and they travel to the other side of the world and go and capture these epic scenes, and they can't wait to put them up on Instagram, and they probably have a bit of social media success in doing it, but they're not actually shooting it for them, are they? I'm not saying everyone, but I think it was a general trend that photography took for a few years, and I think since COVID has stepped in, it's sort of slapped everyone on the face a little bit, hasn't it? With regard to, okay, we can't travel now, sit back, reflect, think about what you're doing, why you're doing it, if you want to continue doing it, because you can't show off your images from all over the world now, and you can't put up your Instagram story hanging off a 2,000-metre cliff, you know. It's not like that now. People are shooting local.
Yeah, I don't know if you... Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know. I was about to... Sorry to bump in.
No, please do.
I was just going to say that a lot of the... I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the sort of more established photographers, social media-wise, have been posting old images or re-edited images or or a collection of... Or they've put old images and some new ones as a collection together. I think that's why the collections are doing really well as well. It's because they're looking for other ways to spice and post things.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those big name photographers you're talking about were making money off workshops too, and they're not now. So they're trying to make money off NFTs.
Yeah.
I don't even go there.
I didn't want to say that with NFTs, but
sorry.
That's go there.
That's what I was kind of getting at.
That's a different topic. That I think.
That's a hint to one of our next podcasts, right, Paul?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I actually know nothing about them, guys, so just ignore me when I say NFT, because I have no idea what it means. What does it even stand for?
Non-fungible token.
There you go. I've got no idea what you're talking about. So we've discussed techniques. One thing I would like to talk about, this is what I do. Something I've learnt probably more so in the last 3 or 4 years. And I've had very big success with it on a personal level. If I want to go out and photograph, you know what it's like. We've got kids at home. Our time's limited. We want to go away on a Saturday morning and then be home after lunchtime so that we don't affect family time on the weekend. And we don't want to travel in the car for more than a couple of hours. Where do we go and what do we do? We don't get on Instagram and search for, you know, other photographers to see what they're doing. A great technique that I've found is to, like Paul said, search on internet, you know, beautiful woodlands in your area, a waterfall in your area, I don't know, cliff faces in Washtram Dawn or whatever, you know, and do these big searches that aren't photography related and start collating lots of ideas. And use Google. Use Google Maps. Google Maps is very, very powerful. If you use it correctly, it's extremely a powerful tool because you can actually come across locations where you're like, what's that green patch there? It's a national park. I've never heard of the Tom Honkins National Park before. What's there? Zoom in. Oh, my God, there's a waterfall in there. Didn't know that. Zoom in more, and you might even have one guy with his iPhone who took a photo of that waterfall, and you're like, wow, horrible photo, but my God. There's a waterfall there. You know what? I'm going there tomorrow morning, and bang, you got yourself something unique. And little things like that are quite powerful. I'm actually finding I'm using picnic areas. So I'm going to national parks and I'm actually searching for picnic spots where people actually have picnics, because those picnic spots, people go and have their sausage and bread and, you know, their chicken salad on a park bench, not in the middle of the road. They're actually in a location that is beautiful. Otherwise, people wouldn't go there. So if it's beautiful, it must be beautiful. It must be photogenic. So that's a hint. Picnic areas are always great areas to photograph. Go to these locations during the day. Don't go sunrise or sunset. Go there and scout them out so that you've got a good light. You can find composition and then come back again another time and capture. It's a great way to plan. And like I said, that's the vision is the key.
Yeah, definitely. And especially if you go into somewhere that has rivers and waterfalls, is don't stay at that one location either. As I always tend to feel, if I'm going to a river, especially look for waterfalls or stuff like that, I'll follow the trace of the river up. Even if there's no paths or anything, just keep tracing the river up, because you'll probably find something. And that'll be unique because people won't have wanted to go to the effort of trying to find something.
And if you've got a waterfall, the chances are you've got dense forests because of that little microclimate in that area. So you might find yourself a nice little woodland or a nice little fern gully to photograph that's nearby.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would strongly advise. It's always a sticky situation. We always tell people to sort of stick to the sort of main path, but if you can safely get off of the beaten track and explore,
trampling anything, that's the main thing. I mean, if you're following a river up, you can follow the edge of a river up and not really affect anything to a certain extent.
That's it. Yeah. But like I said, in a woodland,
woodlands are a different story, aren't they?
But you can, I do it all the time. I always go off the track if I feel like I'm not making a lasting impression as such. That is where you find unique stuff. If you get out of the car and then you walk 2 steps, take a picture, your chances are someone else has took it already. So getting off the beaten track, and as long as you're being responsible and safe, I think that's how you sort of find things that no one else has seen before.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why I was saying, like, these picnic areas and national parks are always great locations because there's always walking tracks around them. So
yeah,
you don't have to really get off the beaten track. Follow these little paths around, and you're always going to find something.
So I got a question in the week by a chap called, he goes by the name of Royal Navy Crewman on Instagram. It's got quite a big following, sort of 10,000 odd. I'm really sorry, mate.
Wow.
I don't actually know his actual name. But I'm assuming he's in the Navy by his name. But have a look at his feed. There's some really good images on there. All Navy based, but obviously there's lots of travelling and it's got a real wide variation. But he says, is there any tips or any apps or any sort of tools that we use to help us? Once I dare say, I kind of thinking what he means is like, once we've figured out where we're going to go, how do we go from there? Does it go further before we walk out the door?
Yeah, look, I think if you've got the possibility, it's a good. If I know lots of photographers, and I try and keep, not for social media reasons, but I've got my phone full of photographers' numbers, and there's lots of local photographers too. So a lot of these places that I tend to go to, I just message them or give them a call and say, "How you going, Franco? What have you been up to? Hey, have you ever been to, such and such woodland at all?" "Oh, yeah, I've got a cousin that's up the road from there. Yeah, beautiful place. Go. Yeah, you'll get some great shots there." It's good to, if you try and keep, some good friendships amongst the photographic community, because especially in different spots too, because you can get advice off them too, especially, local people in those areas. Like Tom, I could say to you, you're going to the Lake District this weekend. I could say, look, I know at least 10 more. Obviously, Paul knows the Lake District well, but I could tell you another 10 photographers that are friends of mine and say, hey, look, have a chat with them, find out what is the best lake to go to at that time of year, if there's any isolated trees to go and locate that are in the middle of a lake, for example, or things like that. Speak with other photographers. Do your research like we were talking about. You're planning, where you're going to go, and just get some reinforcement from the community to help you decide on that location, especially if you're going to go on a big trip. If you're going to travel an hour up the road, if it doesn't work out, who cares? You went outdoors anyway and you enjoyed the fresh air. But if you're going to plan a trip, it's always good to speak to other people beforehand, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then if you're looking for where the light's going to be or where sunrise or sunset's going to be, looking up on things like Google Earth or photo pills, something like that,
for sure,
always help.
Yeah,
Google Earth will give you a good indication of where the sun's going to come up as well. I think, doesn't it? Google Earth Pro.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
And Photo Pills does a great job of that as well, because that's got AR built into it, so you can hold it up to the sky with your phone, and that'll give you exact positioning, or more or less exact position as to where it's going to be.
That's a good tip, Paul. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And obviously, when I was shooting seascapes, obviously the tide's a massive factor in. So I used to use an app called Magic Seaweed.
Yeah.
I look at that every day. Not because I was going surfing every day as well, but knowing the tide times is a big one. Yeah, definitely. Big one, yeah. But yeah, I must admit that tip that you said about Google Earth, Matt, was I actually did that when I found a little place called Fogintor Quarry on Dartmoor, because I just fancied shooting water but not the sea.
Yeah.
And I was just looking, like you said, I was just looking for bodies of water, really, by pinching and zooming, and I come across Fogintor Quarry just by doing that. So yeah, that's definitely a good tip.
Okay, so from there, how do you guys think things are going to go over the next few years when people can travel, more freely, and we're putting all this behind us? And are these locations going to be back on the scene again? We're going to have these huge rushes of people going to the same locations, and every photography does workshops under the sun, all taking the groups to the same places over and over again. We're just going to see it over and over and over again. Or are we going to see a different transition? Are we going to see more people sticking to the local areas, or are we going to see people trying to find new areas that are, I don't know, how's it going to change? We had these years of everyone tagging everything, and it just sort of went out of control. What's going to happen now?
Definitely.
I mean,
well, I don't know. I think you're going to get a certain proportion are going to be desperate to travel again. Of not only photographers, but obviously clients as well. So I think there's going to be that sort of will to want to go abroad and go to these locations again, at least for a while, but I don't see it lasting. I think there will be a certain percentage of photographers that have found value in the local areas.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think for clients even as well. I mean, it's all very well going to all these locations, but you're essentially just trophy hunting at that point.
You are.
And to me, if you want to actually progress and get better and have a better understanding of what you like to photograph, then going to your local area is going to help you out a lot more.
Yeah, I think you got to master your own craft, your own area before you start really being successful elsewhere. I think it doesn't hurt anyway, because the stuff you learn and the mistakes you make on your own when no one else sees them will help you when you go on workshops or you go on photography trips. You would have already learned that mistake, whereas if you don't do that and you just go on trips all the time, you're going to be learning that when you're out and about. When you don't want to be making them mistakes.
It's about connecting with the landscape too. A lot of time. Look, I just said it's a generalisation. Sometimes it's a lot of things I say, but going to some of these locations, this mad rush of the same people going back to these places on workshops, and how is their connection? I mean, being connected to a place by studying where to go, going back to the same location on numerous times, you do feel like you have an extreme connection with that landscape itself, and it does make you feel like a better photographer. I mean, I remember years ago, probably would have been about 5 or 6 years ago now, I went up to the Dolomites, and there's this famous mountain peak. It's called Tre Cime di Lavaredo. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's probably one of the most famous mountains photographed in the world. It's like 3 peaks that are joined together, sticking up in the middle of nowhere, right at the top of the Dolomites. There's a famous photo by Ted Gore that he took about 9 years ago with a lightning bolt going through the top of it. Right. And I can remember that image stuck in my head, and I thought, I'm going to go there. And I went there. It was probably about 8 hours in the car to get there, and then a very big hike. And I got there, and I remember when I'm up the top there and I'm looking at that mountain in front of me, and I got my camera out. And when I took the image, I thought, this image is going to make me famous, because I was in that one location, but I have no connection with it whatsoever. You know, it's, that's the beauty of shooting local. As beautiful it is to travel, and I'm the first one to get up and get in a plane and travel. It's beautiful to see new locations, and you are connecting, don't get me wrong, with your locations when you see them the first time, but there's just different aspects to it all, isn't it, really? So it's going to be interesting to see how things go when we're back to travel again, because I think a lot of people have become better photographers. They've stepped back a bit. They've confronted their fears, and they've contemplated their weakness, their strengths, their feelings, and it's going to be it'll be good to see how things go for sure.
Yeah, I think we've all had plenty of time to work on our weaknesses, whether that's a location or aspect of photography or technique. And now, hopefully, we'll be able to put it into practice. But yeah, I do think it will go back to normal somewhat in terms of people travelling, but I think it will be watered down a little bit. Yeah. I think people that are on the fence, or people that couldn't really afford to travel as much as they did, but did because they thought they had to, are not going to do that anymore. Maybe. But yeah. But I've always shot local, so nothing's really changed for me.
Don't worry, mate. When everything opens back up, you're coming over to Italy, guys.
Yeah, thumb straight.
Oh, yeah, that'd be sweet.
Not just for the landscapes, for the food and the wine too.
Sounds good to me, mate.
Definitely.
Plus, we can't wait to meet Mrs. Bishop as well.
So, right then, guys. So we'll leave it there for this week. And again, for the next podcast, I think we'll do something similar and try and get some input from you guys as to what you want us to talk about. Although on the next episode, I think we're going to try and get a guest on. So maybe if we put some sort of post up about what you would like to hear, we'll have that in the running for the next episode after next, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we've got a few people.
All right, guys.
Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers, chaps.
See you, Tom. See you, Paul. Bye-bye now.
See you, mate. Bye-bye.